If I could have the prompter, please. Good afternoon. I'm Heather McPherson, President and CEO of Women's College Hospital. To begin, we would like to acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. I would like to extend a warm welcome to the Honourable Sylvia Jones, Deputy Premier of Ontario and Minister of Health, the Honourable Peter Bethlenfalvy, Minister of Finance, and to all of our distinguished guests joining us here today. At Women's College Hospital, we have a proud legacy of advancing health for women, particularly in areas where their unique needs have often been overlooked and underserved. Today, our mission is to transform healthcare for women and gender-diverse people, ensuring better outcomes, improved access, and more equitable care experience. We believe in a health system that provides patients and their families with high-quality care close to home, available where and when patients need it the most. That's why we're honored to be here today for this important announcement about how the province is expanding access to health services for Ontarians looking to start or grow their families. Becoming a parent is an incredibly special experience, and it should be within reach for everyone, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic background. With that, I would like to invite the Honourable Minister Sylvia Jones to the podium. Minister Jones has a long record of enhancing healthcare access and supporting healthy families in Ontario. Welcome, Minister Jones.
Thank you, Heather, and good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed great to be back at Women's College Hospital alongside Minister Bethlenfalvy, who, of course, joined me right here when our government announced we were lowering the age of self-referral for mammograms from age 50 to 40, connecting 1 million more women to life-saving breast cancer screening. Thank you to Heather and the dedicated team at Women's College Hospital for hosting us once again today, and for everything you do to provide world-class care for patients and their families. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, our government has been making record investments in Ontario's healthcare system. We are taking bold and innovative action to make it easier for people and families to connect to care at every stage of life, where and when they need it, including by investing and expanding in hospitals, health infrastructure, new primary care teams, and improving access to key services like fertility supports. There is no role more special or important than becoming a parent. That is why I am so pleased to announce that our government will be helping more families access fertility treatments by expanding access to IVF services under the Ontario Fertility Program, with a call for applications to all Ontario fertility clinics. This call for applications opens today for 6 weeks, closing on July the 24th. Existing Ontario Fertility Program clinics seeking additional IVF funding, as well as new clinics seeking to participate in the Ontario Fertility Program for the first time, are both eligible to apply. This is part of our government's plan to protect Ontario by improving public services, investing $250 million over 3 years to increase the number of clinics participating in the Ontario Fertility Program, and shorten wait times in both hospitals and community settings. We are also implementing the new Ontario Fertility Treatment Tax Credit, which Minister Bethlenfalvy will highlight in his remarks. Thank you to all the families, advocates, and healthcare partners across Ontario who have made this change possible. As our government continues to protect Ontario families and the services they rely on, this historic announcement will triple the number of families benefiting from government-funded IVF services. Since the launch of the Ontario Fertility Program, funding has been provided to nearly 120,000 Ontarians to help them build their families. With more clinics participating in the Ontario Fertility Program, more people and families across Ontario will be able to access government-funded fertility services faster, more conveniently, and with more financial support. It's how our government is making steady progress to ensure that the Ontario Fertility Program is better equipped to meet the needs of patients and provide them with timely and high-quality fertility care closer to home. Thank you. I'd now like to pass the podium over to Minister Bethlenfalvy to share a few words. Stay well.
Well, thank you and congratulations, Minister Jones, and good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here with my colleague, my seatmate, Sylvia Jones, Ontario's Minister of Health and Deputy Premier of Ontario, and of course, Heather McPherson, President and CEO of Women's College Hospital, and the great work that you and your colleagues and all the team and staff here at the hospital do to impact people's lives in a time when they really need that help. Last month, our government introduced its historic 2025 budget, our plan to protect Ontario. It's a plan that protects workers, businesses, and communities from tariffs and economic uncertainty. It's a plan that seizes this moment of opportunity to build a stronger and more prosperous province. And when we talk about building a stronger Ontario, we're talking about strengthening the very foundation of our province, our families, because strong families build strong communities. And strong communities help us build a strong Ontario. That's why we are taking bold action to support people across Ontario who dream of starting or growing a family. C'est pourquoi nous prenons des mesures audacieuses pour soutenir la population de l'Ontario qui souhaite fonder une famille ou l'agrandir. In last year's fall economic statement, our government announced a new investment of $150 million over 2 years to expand the Ontario Fertility Program, as Mr. Jones highlighted on top of the other programs. And now I'm pleased to be here with her and with Heather McPherson and the whole team to announce the call for applications for that Ontario Fertility Program. And of course, in the budget, we highlighted that will be a total of $250 million over 3 years. An investment that will triple the number of Ontarians who can access a government-funded IVF cycle and will help expand fertility clinic capacity and eliminate wait lists both in hospitals and community settings. And we're not stopping there. Also in last year's fall economic statement, our government announced that Ontario, with its fertility treatment tax credit, will be a refundable credit providing financial support for families looking to access IVF treatment. This credit covers 25% of eligible expenses up to $20,000, meaning that couples could receive as much as $5,000 in support when looking to grow their family. This can be claimed in addition to existing medical expense tax credits, so that families can maximize the benefit and further ease the financial burden of fertility treatments in Ontario. You know, folks, today's announcement is more than just dollars and cents. It's about giving people hope. It's about giving them a chance to become parents. This program reflects our belief that building a stronger Ontario starts with strong families and strong communities. And today's announcement is another step forward towards this goal. We know that our province faces challenges, and Ontario has faced them before, and we've always come back stronger. Together, we will build a future where more people can realize their dream of having a family. And we'll continue to invest in the people of this great province, and we'll continue to protect Ontario. Thank you. I think it's over to you folks.
We will now begin to take questions from the media. So can all media present begin to line up behind me at the microphone? And as a friendly reminder, the format is one question and one follow-up. Thank you. Please state your name and your outlet.
Hi, Barbara with Queen's Park Briefing. So question for the Minister of Finance. So ArcelorMittal is laying off over 150 workers in Hamilton because of the impacts the U.S. tariffs are having on the steel industry. I'm wondering why the government didn't use funds from the Protect Ontario account to prevent disclosure.
Yeah, first off, we're there to support all workers right across the province. And of course, we're very thoughtful of the 150 people you just mentioned. And of course, that's why we, in our budget, provided $30 billion of relief for companies so that they can keep workers, support families, $11 billion of immediate supports through tax deferrals and WSI rebates. And let's remember as well, we're working with the federal government who's collecting the tariff remissions and will be distributing it to impacted businesses and industries like the steel industry. They're taking the lead on that. We're working complementary with the federal government. And our goal is to, of course, get zero tariffs. So, of course, again, that's a federal government responsibility. So we'll be working as we are collaboratively to achieve the goal that we can keep everyone employed and that we can support businesses and families in Ontario.
Thank you. Question for Minister Jones. So a couple months ago, the government started consultation to explore expanding addiction treatment in correctional facilities and maybe having it as a condition of probation or parole. I'm just wondering how these conversations have been so far, and when can we expect to hear an update on this?
So that consultation is ongoing. We expect that throughout the summer we will continue to have those conversations. But, I think it's really important to also underline all of the other things that our government has been doing, whether it is expanding treatment beds, almost 500 now since 2018, and of course our heart hubs, treatment facilities, and our youth wellness centers. So there is a lot of work happening in this space to make sure that no matter where you are in your wellness pathway, you have opportunities for support from our government.
Mark McAllister from City News for you as well, Mr. Jones, as Deputy Premier, if you would. The removal of the hoarding surrounding the Sir John A. Macdonald statue this morning is a controversial move for some. It is something that is obviously reflective of the government as well. Why was it important to do so?
Well, I think it's important, and I think it's frankly an exciting day to be reminded and acknowledge our history. And yes, history good and bad. So I personally, as a member of the provincial legislature, am very pleased that we have removed, the Speaker has chosen to remove the hoarding. And I know that ongoing conversations will happen about the good and the bad of the founders of our country.
Those conversations will likely involve some backlash, given that your government's already facing some feedback in and around Bill 5 from the Indigenous communities. Are you prepared for that?
Well, I think it's important that we acknowledge the need for the conversations, but, as a former Solicitor General, I would never condone or support any activity that leans into unlawful activity.
Bonjour, Jérémy Bergeron avec Radio-Canada. Ma question est bien évidemment pour le ministre des Finances. Si vous pouvez répondre dans les deux langues, I'll ask my question in English. Maybe you can answer both in French and English. So CBC and Radio-Canada learned that Ottawa and Washington are exchanging documents outlining possible terms of a deal. Canada will accept some things, and Ottawa would also ask Washington to remove all the tariff. How significant would that be for Ontario if we can finally remove the tariff?
Well, very significant. As I mentioned earlier, we don't want to have any tariffs of any kind. And we've been working collaboratively with the federal government, who's responsible for negotiating with Washington, to eliminate those tariffs and minimize the uncertainty that that's causing, and provide support for businesses and workers. So we're encouraged, of course, until we see anything. Of course, we'll wait to comment on that. En français, c'est toujours un bon jour pour notre pays quand on parle avec le gouvernement des États-Unis en ce qui concerne les tarifs d'impôts entre les deux pays. Nous sommes heureux qu'ils ont dans une négociation très importante actuellement. Et on verra quand quelques deal est finissé.
But do you have hope? Do you hear that their negotiations are going well?
You know, what I would say is that I'm an optimist. I see the glass half full, and we've been working tirelessly to work with, I've been speaking with my counterpart, François-Philippe Champagne, the Premier as head of the Council of the Federation, and just a few weeks ago in Saskatchewan, and continued conversations. We're all rowing in the same direction, so I think we plan for any situation, but hope for the best. And en français, c'est la même chose. Nous sommes optimistiques actuellement.
Mr. Bethlenfalvy, Martin Trainer, CBC News. What do you make of Project Ontario, this group that says your government needs to be more conservative?
Well, I would say that we've got 3 successive majorities as a Conservative government. The first government since 1867 to have an increased plurality. No other government has ever done that since 1867. From a fiscal point of view, we're one of the few provinces, perhaps the only province, to get 2 credit rating upgrades in the past 12 months. So fiscally conservative. Canadian Taxpayer Federation gave us a B for lowering. So a good mark. That's a really good mark for lowering taxes and fees. And, you know, we've got the best economic metrics and fiscal metrics in a couple of decades. So I'm feeling pretty conservative these days. And, of course, our borrowing costs are the lowest now for the first time. That's a good conservative principle. That means we can put more money to announcements like today so we can help families, you know, prosper and grow their families. So I'm feeling pretty good as a conservative today.
Okay, is there any other media present with questions? Perfect. That concludes our media availability. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations.